So basically, this video was made after I was messing around with the clown in practice mode and I accidentally pressed the cosmetics button and I saw the weird ass pine tree knife, and after thinking about it for a second, I thought about all the weird weapons that Dead by Daylight has. And yeah, this isn't a video about balance or anything like that. This is strictly a visual design video. Behavior, what is up with all these goofy weapons? I'm gonna go over all the weapons that I find weird. I might miss some because I either don't know about them or I don't own them or something like that. So if I miss the weapon you're thinking about, oops, sorry. So I'm gonna go over Clown first because Clown was the one who started this whole thing, and his pine tree knife. His pine tree knife, I don't like it. I really don't. Clown's pine tree knife has like serrated weird edges that he uses to cut into you. But the thing is that it doesn't have any edges. That's the problem with it. There's no edges on it. There's not like the other half of the knife isn't sharp. It's just like it's still like this weird, the pine tree design. And the pine tree design doesn't look like it's gonna like actually do anything to a person. It seems like the only way you can actually hurt somebody with it is by stabbing into them. But instead of doing that, the clown just like whips it around and he slashes with it. It somehow damages you. And it just doesn't make any sense because it doesn't have any edges on it. I don't know how it would hurt somebody like that. It's either got to be like incredibly sharp or it's just goofy like that. I mean, it's probably, I know some people are going to be like, oh, well, the entity can manipulate it so that it hurts you. I don't care about that, okay? If it doesn't look sharp or like it's going to deal that much damage, it just doesn't seem very threatening to me, okay? Well, before we leave Clown, I also want to talk about his butterfly knives. He has butterfly knives, but they're not butterfly knives. Like, it's called Madame Butterfly, and maybe it's named after the person he stole it from or something. But these are not butterfly knives, okay? These knives, this is just like a regular kind of dagger knife. A butterfly knife is the kind of thing Spy from TF2 uses, you know, where like you can like use it to, you can conceal it and flip it around and all that stuff. This is not what a butterfly knife looks like. Howdy, it's me from the future, and in the future, Dead by Daylight crossed over with Tokyo Ghoul. And now, I actually really like this DLC. I really like the power and then how Ken's this whole thing works and stuff. I don't want to talk too much about the PTB though, because that's not the point of this video. But what is relevant is that in the PTB, the Behaviors developers messed up with Ken's attack animation. It's really slow, it's really weak, and it doesn't look like it hurts anybody at all. And it clips through a lot of stuff. I have a lot of video clips from the PTB from only one day of playing of the tentacle clipping through wood, clipping through windows, whatever. Depending on where I put this, I talk about slow animations more in the future. What I'm gonna say is this: I like this PTB, but again, the problem with the weapon. Why is the weapon attack so slow? Why doesn't it look like it hurts or anything? It seems to be a prevalent problem in Dead by Daylight with behavior. But oh well, I'm gonna move on to Trapper now because I wanted to do this kind of in order, but I just wanted to get my thoughts about the new PTB out of the way. Moving on, let's move on to Trapper, because I just feel like it'll be easier that way. Trapper's original cleaver. I get what they're going for. It's like supposed to be that he like found like iron in his mind because he lives in this weird mind realm, and he like made it himself. He made the cleaver himself, but it still looks really goofy to me personally. I guess that's the point, because he made it himself. When compared to like all these other killers who have these weapons that are like look threatening and stuff and like have a understandable design. Trapper comes in with his cleaver, and it's just kind of like, ooh, cleaver. It's like, I don't know where I was going with this. I actually do like Trapper's Christmas cleaver a lot. The idea that it's just like it doesn't look like it like in the cosmetics tab, but when you're playing in first person mode, it's literally just like a hunk of metal with an edge to it. It's hilarious, and yeah, that would hurt you, I guess. I kind of really like this. Even though it's goofy, I kind of do like this because it's just like a piece of metal that he just hits people with and it goes, oh, they cut me. Oh. It's just great. I love the Christmas cleaver. And then the decapitator. Decapitator has like a weird design. It's like trying to be kind of like a machete, but it has like, but it's also like too boxy in a sort of way, and it's also got the weird I guess it's only supposed to go with the skin that it came with, like the way it's designed, but it's still really goofy. And if you use it with it might even be with the original skin, because I just use the same torso cosmetic for Trapper every time I play him. But if you use the wrong skin for Trapper, the weapon clips into your character, and that's kind of annoying. I hope they fix that, because it just kind of gets on my nerves, you know? And now moving on to Wraith. Wraith has these things that they say are axes, but they don't look like any axe I've ever seen before. Like, it doesn't look like you can cut anything really with it. The blade doesn't like curve around, it just kind of goes down. Maybe there's an axe that exists like this somewhere in the world, but these axes, I can't tell what they are. It has like the spine of the one guy that he killed in his lore, and it's just, I guess it would be threatening if somebody came at you with that, but it just doesn't really make any sense when you look at it. And also his Rift Pass skin from the last Rift Pass, I think it was the Castlevania one, you know, the kind of tribal skin that he has. That one has jiggle physics for some reason. Like, I think the feathers, because like you look at it and you're just like, I don't understand what this is. There's like a dead frog on that one too, and you look at it and you're just like, what is this thing? What am I using? You know? And then moving on from Wraith, Hillbilly. Hillbilly uses hammers, and the hammers themselves look pretty threatening. They do look like they would hurt you. But I guess the one thing I don't like is that Hillbilly's animations for the hammers are too floaty in a kind of sense. Like, he hits you. When Hillbilly hits you, he does this kind of twist thing in the air as his like weapon clean, because everybody needs to clean their weapon, but he can't really clean his because he has his chainsaw arm. So instead of actually cleaning his weapon, he just twists it, he like throws it into the air and it does like a little circle before he grabs it again. And that makes it just seem too floaty, like it's like he can just throw this thing and it just doesn't feel like it weighs anything, you know? It's like compared to Leatherface, who also uses a hammer, and even though it's a smaller hammer, it feels way more threatening, because when he hits you, he goes, ugh! And like, you can feel the weight of it, especially when he slides the blood off of it. It feels weighty, it feels impactful.
Hello, Mario.
Meanwhile, Hillbilly's animation for his hammer, it just doesn't feel like it feels like it's made out of a pool noodle, really. But the thing is most of his hammers look threatening, and you can kind of understand what they're going with them. One hammer that I own that's always confused me was Propane. I have the Propane hammer from the summer barbecue event, whenever that was, and the Propane hammer is just so goofy to me. He's running around with this like propane tank on like a rail spike. It looks like a kind of like spike they would use for like railroads or something like that, if that makes sense. And he's running around with this thing, and it feels like the propane tank's gonna fall off at any time. And yet he's running around hitting people, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I got them." And he's running around with this railroad spike with a propane tank on it, just hitting people, and I feel like the hammers would do more damage at that point. I get that you want to do something different behavior, but the hammers just seem way more threatening compared to this thing, where I feel like at any moment the propane tank's gonna either explode or just fly off, you know? And now moving on to Nurse. Nurse uses bone saws, and the thing is though is that bone saws are really weak in reality, but this is like a video game. Even in Team Fortress 2, which is, I already brought up Team Fortress 2, but the medic also uses a bone saw in that game, and it does a bunch of damage, even though in reality bone saws only really work when you're actually sawing with them. Like, if somebody actually hit you with a bone saw, it wouldn't deal much damage. It would barely even hurt you. Even if they slashed you with it, it would barely even hurt you. I guess you could also use the same excuse, it's entity magic, but still, the bone saw would break upon getting smacked with it. It wouldn't do much at all, you know? It is just this bone saw the nurse lady coming at you with the bone saw. It's like, ooh, ouch. So for the Castlevania Rift Pass, they did add another bone saw, which was the Scythe bone saw. And it does have a blade at the top of it, and that would deal some damage if somebody slashed you with that. Only complaint, it still feels weird to just have this blade coming off of the bone saw itself. The only real complaint that I have with it though is that for the Deep Pass skin, it just has some blue splattered on it. I don't get why there's this blue paint on it. I feel like if you splattered blood on it, make it like the bloody version of the same weapon, it would look way, way better. But I guess they just decided that if they just splatter some blue paint on it, it would be okay. But other than that, bone saws are bone saws. Moving on to Huntress. Huntress uses a lot of axes, and the axes would hurt you. The axes make sense most of the time, but there are two axes in particular that I want to talk about. So, for the holiday skin that happened a while ago, Huntress, instead of getting an axe, she actually got like a weird, like, shovel, or I guess it looks kind of like a hoe to me. And so she got this like shovel hoe farming tool thing, and it would hurt because there is a point on it, but it just clips into everything when you use it. Like you do a mori on somebody, the blade clips into the person, and I guess they're trying to pass it off as, oh, you're digging it into their like skull, but it still just looks so bad to me. It doesn't look good at all. And I guess that is true about most moris though, because the weapon just kind of goes in and there's no wound. And so, but still, compared to that, the weird shovel axe is just so goofy when it comes to clipping and stuff. It just doesn't sit right with me, especially when you swing it and like it hits through the doorway or something like that, because it doesn't have this, because it has the same hitbox as the axe, but it still comes out a little bit, so you occasionally just like phase through wood with it. It's goofy, that's all. It's goofy. And she also, this current Rift Pass, from the date that I'm recording, she also got this weird grid axe. I'm pretty sure this is a reskin of another axe, but she got this grid axe, and the grid axe is just so goofy to me. Sure, it would hurt, but it's kind of, the grid axe doesn't have any blades on it. It doesn't have any support on it. It would be really hard to use it. If you're using the kind of axe that it is, you're trying to use it, this grid axe just looks goofy as hell. I'm sure it would hurt like one person, maybe two, but then I feel like it would get brittle and like fall apart. It just doesn't seem very useful to me, you know? And then moving on to Doctor sticks are just goofy. I know that they didn't really. I know they wanted to do something different because Huntress got the axe last DLC, and then what else are we? And they wanted to do like a sort of torture implement, something he made himself, but it's literally just called the stick, and it's you hit people with it. Yeah, it would hurt, and they're getting shocked with electricity, and there's spikes coming out of it and stuff. But it just looks so goofy, just like him walking around with this thing. And then the other version of the stick, where it has like the plasma coming out of it, and like I guess the plasma is supposed to be shocking you when he hits you with it. That also looks really, really goofy to me. Though usually when I play Doctor, I usually just use the metal bat because that just makes the most sense for me, you know? Using this bat and just hitting people with it, like break their kneecaps and stuff, that's funny to me. I like doing that more than using the other sticks. The sticks just don't sit right with me. I'm not sure why. I know it would hurt if I got hit with them, but the way they're just like so big and like weird and unwieldy to use, it just feels like goofy to me to use that instead of the bat. Now moving on to Michael Myers.
Michael! Don't leave me here! Michael!
This list couldn't be completed without Michael Myers. Michael Myers is this essential part to goofy weapons, because what happened was that it was like a slow bit, and it was a slow little bit in Dead by Daylight's update history, and there wasn't much content coming out. We're waiting for the next PTB or whatever it was, and suddenly out of nowhere, Behavior's like, "Hey guys, we got a Halloween DLC coming up." No, not a Halloween DLC. We got a Halloween cosmetic stuff coming up. You're gonna be able to, because Halloween was like stuck, kind of in the same situation as A Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake that's also in the game. And so suddenly we have cosmetics for Halloween now, and so they're not going to be in this rut like A Nightmare on Elm Street, the DLC still is. And so a lot of people, I remember back then, a lot of people were talking about it, and they thought that we were going to get like old Michael Myers because they were making the new Halloween movies with old Michael Myers and old Laurie Strode, and they were thinking maybe we're gonna get old Michael Myers with his old mask, his grimy mask. Instead, we got a hospital gown and like a dress for Laurie, and then these goofy weapons for Michael Myers. I love I actually really like the weapons for Michael Myers because he just seems like he like just found them out of somewhere, and they're just so funny to me. The first weapon that's obviously the most infamous weapon is the pipe. Michael Myers uses his slashing motions and his knife motions for this pipe, and it's just super goofy. And the thing is that it works though. It kind of works because when he hits you with it, even though it's a slashing motion, they go, "Oh, he's just so strong that when he hits you, it makes you bleed and it hurts you really badly." And when he mori's you, he's like, "Oh, he's just so strong. He pushes the pipe through survivors and it kills them. He stabs them with the pipe." It's just so great. I love the pipe. The pipe is good. The other weapon though is this very, very long screwdriver. Hi, it's me again from the future. So in this little like tangent, I talked about Michael Myers' flathead screwdriver. It's a flathead, and I talked about like cars or something like that or something. So it wasn't really relevant, and I don't know what I was really talking about because I searched it up, and it seems like this is more used with drywall more than anything. So I'm just gonna ignore the stuff that I did because I'm pretty sure it's wrong, and just move ahead to the stuff I like. Okay, thank you. If he hit somebody with it, it would break the first time he ever used it. It wouldn't actually like you get like one hit, maybe two hits out of it, and then he stabs people with it, and it's even though technically he could possibly make it work, it just looks so goofy for him using it. I guess if I saw him in like a movie using it, in like a Halloween movie using the very long screwdriver, I guess it would be more intimidating. Actually, scratch that. No, I think it would just be as goofy as it is in the game. I love the long screwdriver anyway, especially when he goes into tier 3 and he starts stabbing people with the long screwdriver, and it's like, oh, I got stabbed with a knife. Oh, I'm bleeding. And oh, I got stabbed with a long screwdriver. I can't withstand this attack. It hurts too much. And now, that's all fun and games. I love Michael Myers' weapons. I do like his weapons. Moving on to Singularity. Singularity has a really long... It's called the Claw or something. But it's actually a scythe. It's pretty much... It's supposed to be... It looks like a scythe. Singularity should use it as a scythe. You know, do a slashing motion with it. What does Singularity do with it instead? Stab. It doesn't have a point on it. Why are you stabbing with it? Just slash. Why did they make a stabbing motion for something that should be a slash? I don't understand. I don't get why they did that. It seems like if Singularity's whole thing is to find the most optimal way to kill you, why would it choose the most inoptimal way to use its weapon? Just slash them with it. Slash them to pieces. Why are you stabbing with it? Stabbing with it isn't gonna do anything. But that's the only thing Singularity's really... That's the only problem I have with Singularity. The weird stabbing thing it does. Trickster. Trickster has his bat, but the bat's supposed to be goofy. Trickster's kind of a goofy character in the first place. It's goofy that they put a blade on this bat, so you could have already we have bats in the game. You could just have it be a bat, but they put the blade on it to make it extra special. And honestly, I'm okay with the bats. Singularity's goofy. The couple weapons that I do have that I don't like on Trickster. I have been saying Trickster right. I thought I've been saying Singularity. The couple of weapons that I do have on Trickster that I do not like are the walking sticks. They're from the Rift Pass. I think it was the Rift Pass with the animal themed Rift Pass. Trickster got a rooster kind of cosmetic set. It's based off of the rooster, and instead of a bat, he got this kind of walking stick thing. And yeah, Blight also uses his walking sticks to attack people with. But I feel like Trickster's walking stick, it's got the little design on the top. When he hits people, I just feel bad using it. I don't want to ruin the little design. I like the little design. I like the little bird that's on top of it. I don't want to use it to hurt people. That's why I use the bat instead. Even though I have this cosmetic, I always use the bats instead because the bats just seem like they're more... The bats seem like they're used for that kind of thing. The walking sticks, I don't want to use the walking sticks. Ruin their epic design. I like their design. I don't want to damage... I know that took a lot of work in universe, of course. Probably not for whatever behavior employee was modeling it, or maybe it did. I don't really know. But the walking stick. I don't want to be smacking people with a walking stick. I know how hard they are to make in real life. Especially with the little designs on them. It takes a long time. And now, Knight. Knight has the Claymore, and the Claymore's been goofy to me, not because it's ineffective at hurting people, but because it's too effective at hurting people. Knight has a giant sword, and when he hits people with it, there's blood all over the sword, and yet they only get as damage as any other killer with a weapon. And I know that is for gameplay, because to balance the gameplay. You can't have a killer just randomly destroy you out of nowhere. But just having this big sword and the way he uses it, he puts so much force and stuff behind his attacks. And then he does all that force just to barely injure you, and you're just, oh, ouch, I'll get away. It's like, dang, dude. He really did not work out for you using the sword. That one weapon that the Knight has is his Ice Claymore. And I actually really do like using his Ice Claymore because it makes more sense to me when he uses the Ice Claymore when he hurts people with it. Because at that point, it's just a giant stick and there's no edges or anything on it. So he's just kind of hitting you, kind of like the pipe that Michael Myers used. He's just hitting you with a very big, dull object. And that's funnier to me, the way he just like, ugh, and they're like, ugh, like he's just smacking you upside the head with this big chunk of ice that he found. It's great. I love the Ice Claymore. Right? I do like the Ice Claymore. His swords are goofy, but that's only because they're getting hit by giant claymores and then walking it off. That's the only reason they're goofy. Also, while we're on the topic of Knight also has his candy sword, and I want to talk about the candy weapons for a second. A bunch of killers got a bunch of candy weapons, and I do like how they were going up with the candy weapons. They were free original weapons that you could get, and I do like the designs, but the Unknown's candy weapon is goofy. It has like rock candy coming out of it, so it's already, the axe was painful enough, and now it's a serrated axe with candy rocks sticking into you. Like I imagine like the sugar getting you a sugar rush. The Unknown's candy axe just like hits like a weird spot for me, like, because I kind of do like it and I kind of don't like it at the same time, just the way it's designed. And also the Unknown's cutlass, because the Unknown has a cutlass. I do like the cutlass. It looks really. It doesn't look like anything anyone would ever use, but I guess that's kind of the point. And now thinking about it, the whole idea of the Unknown just using an axe is goofy in the first place. I remember when the Unknown was coming out, and everybody thought that the Unknown was gonna just hit you with like the claws or something, kind of like how Nemesis hits you with his fists, and how the alien uses its claws. And the Unknown, instead of doing any of that, just has an axe, and it was like, oh, okay. Nice Spider-Man axe. And now, to finish this all up, Dredge. Dredge is this whole thing. Dredge has a weird dangly piece of meat that it uses to smack you. And even on other Dead by Daylight videos that people have posted, they see this thing and they go, what is this thing? Nobody knows what it is. It's just kind of like a weird fleshy thing that comes out of Dredge. I'm guessing it's also another blunt object weapon, and I'm guessing it's using its bones to actually injure you, you know? Because that seems like the only thing that would make sense, because it has like jiggle physics. It has jiggle physics, so it's jiggling all around, so it's not firm and strong, but it's also kind of stabbing into you. It doesn't make any sense at all. You wrap your mind around this thing, and you're just like, what is this thing? What is it actually hitting with? And I guess that's kind of the point, but it's still kind of, the flesh hitting you is just strange. And the ice weapon that the Dredge got, the ice weapon still doesn't even help, because the animation's too floaty. There's just something off with it, that when it hits you, it still doesn't feel like it actually does any damage. When Dredge hits you, it doesn't feel like it does any damage. It's just like, oh, I got hit, I guess. That sucks. Because the other thing is that Dredge has this big fist, and I feel like it should have just used its big fist and punch you like Nemesis, and that would make more sense, because that would hurt. But this weird dangly thing, I don't know what it is. I don't know why it's hurting me. Get it away from me, please. You know? And that's all. That's all the weapons I wanted to talk about today. I feel like when Behavior is designing cosmetics, they have some sort of fashion designer or something. Because this fashion designer person is making all these great outfits and stuff, and they're like, oh yeah, let me make these outfits. Let me design these like super elaborate outfits for these killers and stuff. And when it comes to survivors, it's okay, because survivors just need to run. But I feel like this fashion designer, they like weren't able to do the fashion job that they wanted to, and got hired at Behavior instead, and they make up this great outfit, and then they remember, oh yeah, this is a killer. I need to give the killer a weapon. Let me just make something that kind of looks alright up. And so that's how you get the walking stick on Trickster. That's how you get the weird flesh thing. They're like, they make a good scary design or a good exotic design, just a good design, and then they remember, oh yeah, we need a weapon. And I know this is a problem because with Sadako, they didn't even know what with Sadako, I know that they didn't know what they were going to do for the attack, and eventually they settled on having Sadako just like attack using the Japanese words, the curse, and that works for me because it's like, oh, it's magic. It makes sense the way it makes sense because the curse is attacking you, and it's not like Sadako's gonna reach out and just like smack you around. So they had to do something. But I feel like they just have that problem with a lot of the killers and a lot of the cosmetics. They don't know what kind of weapon they're gonna give this killer. And so that's it. I just wanted to talk about Dead by Daylight weapons. I want to make a couple of animations. I might make some Dead by Daylight animations, so keep in touch for that. Like and subscribe if you like this weird kind of off-script rant thing that I did. I'm trying different content styles to see what works. And remember, I also want to do book reviews, so keep that in mind. So if you have a book that you like, if you have a book that you want to hear somebody talk about, just you can leave a comment and I'll do a video on that book. And I might, in my next long form content video, like kind of this one, I might not even have it be on like games or anything. I might just start like telling stories or something. I want to just kind of talk about things on this channel, you know, because I feel like because I have this channel, I might as well just talk about stuff that I'm passionate about and about stuff that I think about all the time. And so I'm gonna start doing that, you know. I think I'm gonna start doing more off-script videos, or I will make, or if this doesn't work, if I'm like in editing and it's kind of a mess to edit, I will make scripts. But I'm going to make videos that I kind of want to make. I'll still make animations and I still will do book reviews, but I want to make videos that I like making. And that's all I really wanted to talk about. If you're still listening to this, thank you. Comment something stupid down, like, I don't know, peanut. And thank you for watching. And this has been Oyster Cupcake. Goodbye.